So, in this story, after defeating King Piccolo and arriving on the lookout, Goku mentions something to Kami that gets his attention. He was a little confused on how he survived in the first place, since, his life was kind of linked to Piccolo. To his knowledge, he should be dead right now. But Goku mentions an egg that King Piccolo spit out, and Kami's eyes widen. Oh, Kami, why are you so careless? He now knows how he's still alive. King Piccolo's last egg hatched, and therefore allowed his life to carry on within the child. Both Goku, who's a little healed up, and Kami head down to the earth, where they seek to find Piccolo. Kami senses him, and takes Goku to a forest, heading near it. A little further, there's a house, and it's starting to be set on fire. Kami does a swift motion with his hand, blowing it out. Inside the house is a family sitting across from Piccolo. As Goku and Kami look for the thing, they find it, and although when they do, they don't know what to think. It's just a child. They were expecting some demon. Although this child is little, he grows extremely fast, already looking like a toddler. Not just that, but he's extremely evil. Right as he sees Goku, hatred fills his eyes, as he tries to lunge at him. But Goku is much stronger than him right now. All he does is punch him in the face, sending him crashing through the wall of the house, and further back. Piccolo is knocked out. Both Kami and Goku carry him to the lookout, where Kami is wondering what to do with the child. He can't just kill him. That would mean he dies, which means the Dragon Balls disappear. As they try to figure out what to do with him, the child wakes up once more, thinking he'll have better luck attacking Kami. But just as he goes for the kill shot once more, this time with Kami, Kami puts out his hand, freezing the kid in place. As he's about to do the deed, Goku steps in front of him, deflecting the blast Kami fired. He tells Kami that he can't just kill the child, he'll die and the Dragon Balls will disappear too. And plus, it's just a child, he can change. Kami argues with Goku, saying that it's a child of Piccolo, and Goku knows what they're capable of. Although he just shrugs it off, saying they were the grown, malicious, and evil ones. This kid can change. He also adds on that the Dragon Ball will disappear. This isn't enough for Kami, but the last push is Goku mentioning how Tien changed. Hell, even Krillin and Yamcha weren't good until they met him. That sort of goes through Kami, but he's still extremely worried. Following this, both Goku and Kami take in Piccolo and start to nurture and train him. It's Popo's job to try and contain him whenever Piccolo goes wild or something, which he does all the time. Whenever Goku's sleeping, Piccolo tries to attack and kill him, and it doesn't really end well for him because Popo's always there to stop him. Slowly but surely, Goku and Piccolo start their training, and both push each other to get stronger. Piccolo will never forgive Goku for what he did, at least that's what he thinks right now. But he can't just let Goku surpass him, that just means he never achieves his goal of killing him one day. This in turn pushes Goku to get stronger as well, as they both form a rivalry. Piccolo and Goku eventually end up entering the time chamber when they get older, and in that time, Goku explains what he had to do and why he did it to Piccolo, who although still mad is starting to warm up to Goku and Kami. He also just realizes that his father was a bad man. But outside the time chamber, Kami is starting to get worried, knowing Goku doesn't have backup in there. And if Piccolo goes bad, then it's the end of the world. Kami does something he never expected to do. He asks Popo to collect the Dragon Balls. Summoning Shenron, he does what King Piccolo did, wishing for eternal youth. This spikes Kami in power, almost doubling it and putting him at 400. He followed by starting to train with Popo, who makes a clone of him, and Kami trains with his clone. He was able to do this with Goku, so I don't see why he wouldn't be able to do it with Kami. Both of them start to train up, and Kami just doesn't want to sit on his back anymore, waiting for Piccolo to do something bad. He's expecting it, but he's also realizing that Piccolo is starting to change, although he can never be too sure. Both Goku and Piccolo, who are still in the time chamber, are able to survive 6 months together because they're way stronger. They both are about 3 times as strong. Eventually, the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament comes around. Both Goku and Piccolo head down, and Goku reunites with the group. At first, nobody notices Piccolo there, but after Goku and everyone reunite, Piccolo's introduced, and Tien and Roshi immediately get in a fighting stance, with Krillin and Yamcha following. But Goku calms the situation down, saying this isn't that Piccolo. It's his son, and Goku's been training with him for the last 3 years. Yeah, that doesn't convince anybody, especially not Tien, who's disgusted that Goku would team with a Piccolo. This is gonna come in later, but with the tension starting, everybody goes to sign their names up, and the first fight is going to be Piccolo versus Krillin. This time around, Piccolo fights respectfully against him, bowing before starting, as Krillin starts to see what Goku was talking about. Both of them start their fight, and Piccolo holds back, but still takes out Krillin relatively easily. The next matchup is between Tien and Goku, and their fight goes practically the same, except Goku has much heavier weights, but is still able to easily defeat him. The main match, of course, being Piccolo versus Goku. I do want to mention, Shen was never there due to Kami not needing to seal away Piccolo, so this fight goes practically the same, except Piccolo isn't aiming to kill and takes this like a friendly match, same as Goku. When the fight starts to kick off and both start using Ki Blasts and such, they're very careful not to kill anyone by accident. Piccolo and Goku are pretty even, both being far stronger than in the original. They seem to trade blows and can't get the upper hand on the other. Eventually, they get to their max power, standing off with each other, with Goku making the first move, sending a punch towards Piccolo, which he counters with a kick. Goku fires a Kamehameha, which Piccolo deflects. Almost nobody's able to keep up with the two. Even Tien is having trouble, and he's the strongest there, besides the other two that are fighting right now. But Piccolo has a trump card. Unlike Goku, he has some special techniques limited to just him. He stands still, as slowly Piccolo starts to grow in size. He doubles, then triples. Eventually, he stands over Goku, covering the entire ring with just his shadow. Piccolo uses gigantification technique, which he has better use of. He still dreamed of defeating Goku even if he wasn't evil, so he practiced this in the time chamber. Piccolo is better at working around the whole being huge disadvantage, but Goku being small and Piccolo huge still isn't completely in his favor. Goku is able to maneuver around the huge Piccolo much easily, but his huge limbs and legs are easily able to get the upper hand on Goku, sometimes doing massive amounts of damage. Eventually, Goku would get up to his nose and use the feat Kamehameha, something he'd been working on. But as he does so, Piccolo still has a trick up his sleeve. When Goku goes down, expecting to land on Piccolo's hand, he instead leaps further down. As he sees, Piccolo's arm is shrunk, but his body is still huge. And that's not it. Goku's vulnerable while floating in the air, and doesn't know how to fly yet, so Piccolo enlarges his arm once more as it attacks Goku, sending him crashing into the ground. As Piccolo redirects his arm, he picks him up once more, but then crashes him down to the ground once again. Goku uses another feat Kamehameha, boosting him up. This time he lands with enough force to push Piccolo downwards. Piccolo then attempts to evade falling out of the ring by shrinking back down, and it works. But Goku was expecting this, and it's prepared. He lunges in, landing a flurry of punches to Piccolo, and followed by something he calls a Super Kamehameha. It's basically a bigger and more focused one, and Piccolo puts his hands out, trying to push it back, but he's unable to do it forever, as he's then knocked out of the ring. As he falls, he looks down at his burned hand, angered at losing, but glad he got to test his powers against Goku. Speaking of, Goku goes to the edge of the ring as he goes to give Piccolo a hand. Reluctantly, Piccolo takes it, expecting to, get some sort of congratulations from everybody else. They're all much happier to see Goku win, though. Piccolo and Goku then eat a Senzu Bean, and at the end of the day, it came down to Goku having much more skill, and much more skill using his techniques. I mean, it is understandable considering Goku's around 18, and Piccolo only 3. But afterwards, Goku and Piccolo go their separate ways, depart for a while, with Goku getting married and even having a son. Piccolo, on the other hand, heads back to the lookout, and is still kind of weirded out by the whole young Kami. Even though Kami's still a bit distant from Piccolo, he has begun to soften up, and vice versa. One day, out of the blue, Kami tells Piccolo he's proud of him. Piccolo's shocked to hear this, and gives a nod. Following this, Kami begins to teach Piccolo about the Dragon Balls and things he knows. He's been on the earth for centuries and probably knows a lot of techniques and skills. He's finally starting to be a mentor to Piccolo. While he is happy about all this, Piccolo thinks he would benefit much more if somebody else came to look at and train with him. Kami's not sure about this, but he's interested in what Piccolo had in mind. Piccolo looks at his options. Roshi's cool, but he's old and usually busy doing things. Yamcha is into baseball and Bulma. Krillin is at Kame House most of the time with Roshi, but then it's Sparks. How about that Tien guy? He seemed very powerful out of all of them. Kami sighs, knowing Tien is a good option, but also concerned, considering King Piccolo did nearly kill him, and Tien was the most agitated at seeing Piccolo. Tien is invited over, and after some debating, Chaozu is able to convince him to go. He flies up there, but Kami flings him off, saying there's only one way to get up. Tien climbs Korin Tower and meets Korin, even ended up drinking the sacred divine water. The ultra divine water does nearly kill Tien, but he's able to survive. This shocks everybody, considering that Goku was the only one able to ever survive that. But Tien climbs Korin Tower and faces off to Piccolo, who puts his hand out. Tien stares down Piccolo before grabbing his hand and gripping it tightly. Piccolo looks on, not fazed, but Kami jumps in and says let's begin. Throughout the 5 years between the tournament and Z, both Piccolo and Tien grow a lot stronger. Tien ends up mastering the Mafuba with instructions from Kami, and Piccolo does the same, learning that his Mafuba isn't perfected. Both of them form a heavy rivalry, because Goku is more of a family man now, and he hasn't been training much. He even had a son. Piccolo has surpassed Goku, and Tien is practically there as well. He is just about at Goku's power level, and about to surpass him too. But not just that, as throughout the 5 years, Tien starts to realize that Piccolo has changed, but he still always has his guard up. It's just very Tien-like to do so. But eventually, Piccolo is invited to a Kame House reunion. At first, he's hesitant to go until he realizes Goku will be there. Tien also goes along with it. They arrive, and Piccolo reunites with everyone, them all being a lot more accepting now. Goku arrives with a kid, and Piccolo is happy to meet him, but is very shocked that Goku had a kid in the first place. Go Gohan has heard stories about Piccolo and refers to him as Mr. Piccolo, which makes Piccolo very happy, and, makes him kind of cringe a bit. But the reunion is cut short when Raditz arrives and drops a huge bomb on the group. Apparently, Goku's an alien, Piccolo's an alien, Tien just has 3 eyes, and this dude is Goku's brother. Wow, that's a hard hit. Piccolo is shocked to learn that he's a NAMEKIAN. I mean, he knew he had green skin, but he thought it was just because of his father. Maybe because he was just green for some reason. Kami, who is listening in, also hears this. But the problem for Raditz is that he won't have his way here. Everyone is far stronger than in the original, except Krillin, who gets slapped through the house. Oof. But with that, let's discuss power levels. Piccolo is the strongest at 950. His time in the time chamber, as well as the training with both Goku and Tien, alongside the younger and stronger Kami, puts him at the top of the list. Tien is a close second at 850. His drive to overpower Goku and then Piccolo pushed him to be this strong. Goku is third at 700. He's much stronger than in the original series, but weaker than both Tien and Piccolo. Raditz tries to kidnap Gohan, but it doesn't work for him as Goku powers up and punches him, catching him off guard. He powers up and lands a blow to Goku, which sends him into a frenzy. Both Piccolo and Tien rush in and force Raditz to retreat for now. Their numbers are too high. Piccolo, Goku, and Tien follow close behind, and they all fight Raditz. Speaking of him, he's at a power level of 1500 at his max, and the combined forces of Tien, Piccolo, and Goku is something to be reckoned with. They're very powerful, at least talking beginning of the Saiyan saga. But Raditz's full power is stronger than one individual, so he plans on taking them on separately, dividing and conquering. He attacks Piccolo, landing a thunderous kick, followed by dashing towards Tien, landing a punch. Then, he shifts his attention to Goku and fires a double Sunday. Goku plans to counter with a Super Kamehameha, but it isn't enough. He's nearly overtaken when from behind, something goes through Raditz. Piccolo had fired the Special Beam Cannon, a new technique he'd been working on. But Raditz being weakened doesn't mean his attack is. Piccolo almost missed. It was more a heavy flesh wound. But Tien from above fires a Neo Tri-Beam, and combined with Piccolo's Special Beam Cannon and Goku's Super Kamehameha, it overtakes Raditz, killing him almost. Before dying, Raditz mentions 2 more Saiyans are about to come. And then he dies. Kami tells the 3 to move up to the lookout. He already has 3 up there and informs Krillin and Roshi to train Gohan, which they do. But on the lookout, there has to be some new way of training. So something that can make them multiple times stronger. Because from what Raditz told them, the 2 were multiple times stronger than him. With that in mind, Kami decides to divide and conquer as well. He speaks to Tien and teleports him up to Snake Way, where Tien is going to go train with King Kai. Goku and Piccolo, on the other hand, are going into the time chamber, and he will continue training as Kami is around Goku's level of power. He wants to help out with this threat. After all, he is the god of Earth and is supposed to protect it. Tien flies through Snake Way and meets King Kai. He first has to catch Bubbles and Gregory. After some struggle of doing it in 10 times gravity, he is able to, followed by learning the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb. On Earth, both Goku and Piccolo are training, and they both like the feeling of the pressure again, with them now finally relating to something, Goku being an alien, and both of them actually. But they both end up training and get much stronger. Kami too, who is starting to intensify his training, asking Popo to make multiple of the clones so he can test his limits. But on the surface, Gohan is learning the Turtle School way. He's getting much stronger and is much more confident. Training with Krillin and Roshi does help, and it would be slightly stronger than in the original since he's training from the start and not spending time in the wild. But with all their training covered, let's discuss their power levels. Piccolo is still the strongest at 9,000. His time in the time chamber gave him an extra year to train. Tien would still be second at a base power of 8,500. His time with 10 times gravity made him stronger, and his training intense. But he also learned the Kaioken, and when he uses it, he can be stronger than Piccolo and be boosted to 17,000. Goku would be at 8,000, third strongest, and Kami is actually pretty powerful at 6,000. Lastly, Gohan at about 3,800. He was training the entire year, so he would be slightly stronger than in the original series. The Saiyans arrive and blow up a city, angering Kami and Piccolo. They meet at a wasteland where Cybermen are brought out to fight. Everyone is easily able to handle their Cybermen. Gohan doesn't have any trouble either. Piccolo and Tien spread off to fight with Vegeta. While they do that, Nappa fights Goku, Kami, and Gohan. Their teamwork is very sloppy, but their power levels are very high and great. Gohan struggles, being pushed away by the Brew, but Goku counters, blasting Nappa, burning his back. Kami finishes off with an explosive God Wave. With Vegeta, Tien and Piccolo takes turn, with Tien going first. His base power doesn't match up, so he uses Kaioken. That puts him close to Vegeta, but not enough. A riot hook from him forces Tien to use ×3. He can use this with a lot of strain, but Vegeta is hurt from this. Although he is able to survive Tien's Neo Tri-Beam with, a lot of damage. But he has a tail, and he ends up firing an artificial moon. While he does that, he's planning to turn into a great ape. But Piccolo sees this from afar, realizing what he's doing. He was told by Kami about Goku turning into a giant ape. He dashes in behind Vegeta and cuts his tail off mid-transformation. Piccolo isn't that strong in base, but Vegeta is weakened. So what he does is firing an explosive wave to finish the job. But Vegeta isn't done yet. At the same time, Chaozu was concerned about Tien, so he showed up to the field, and Vegeta sees him, thinking he's a threat, and wants to kill him. So he fires a Ki Blast at Chaozu, and he's not that strong, so Chaozu dies from this. This angers Tien, who powers up into Kaioken ×3 once again, and kills Vegeta. But the artificial moon is still up, and Gohan's tail grows back, and he turns into a great ape. With a power level of 40,000, no one can stop him. They all use simultaneous attacks, but it doesn't work. Piccolo's going for the tail, but is swatted away. But from afar, Tien telepathically tells everyone to keep Gohan busy. He starts to charge a Spirit Bomb, to which Roshi, Krillin, and even Yamcha give their power. He fires the ball, and it makes contact with Gohan, dropping him down to the ground. For assurance, Piccolo fires a Special Beam Cannon, cutting Gohan's tail off. But Chaozu is dead, and with Earth's Dragon Balls gone, what are they gonna do about that? Well, Kami and Piccolo both know they're Namekians from what Raditz and Vegeta said. Plus, if Kami can make Dragon Balls, and there's a whole world of them somewhere out there, they should be able to make Dragon Balls as well. They summon Shenron, asking where to find the Namekians, and get a location. Namek. After using the Dragon Balls to find Namek, Kami requests a ship from Bulma, and Tien mentions a gravity room for everyone to get stronger in that time. Remember, he did go train with King Kai. And with Kami's old ship and Goku's as well, alongside Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz's new ones, Bulma and Dr. Briefs get to work, and in short of a week are able to build it. Now, who goes? Well, for starters, Piccolo and Kami will definitely be going to see their home world, and Tien will of course go because they're going to revive Chaozu, his best friend. Goku is the last one to go since he doesn't want to miss out on getting stronger or go to a new planet. Sounds cool. Gohan can't this time around since Chi-Chi won't let him. He doesn't put up that much of a fight. He didn't even know Chaozu that well, and not that many people died. In the original series, the strand was Mr. Piccolo, and since Piccolo died, and Gohan kind of trained with him for a year, he wanted to go. But here, Chi-Chi doesn't let him, and Gohan doesn't put up that much of a fight against it either. But Krillin stays back with him. That's all good, though. Now, they all board the ship, and as it takes off, it takes them about 10 days to get there. Well, why not 6, Saiyans? Well, even with all the materials they had, they built it as fast as they could. So it's not as fast as Goku's ship, but inside the ship, the gravity training is paying off. They're still starting at ×20, since the Room of Spirit and Time was ×10, and Kami, Piccolo, and Goku all went inside of it. Tien doesn't have to actually help them on that front, but that means they can gradually increase in gravity, and Goku being there doesn't have any mishap, because he doesn't accidentally turn it up to 100 times. He has 3 other people with them there, so they make sure that it never happens. As they gradually increase gravity, it allows them to keep up better. Having multiple people there is also very beneficial. They can train with each other and improve their techniques, alongside just get stronger. The ship reaches Namek and they arrive, already sensing huge power levels, one massively surpassing all others. So let's talk their power levels. Goku's initial boost was 9 times while training alone and in 6 days. Here, they have 10 days and multiple people. The increase would be about 12 times. Piccolo stays the strongest at 108,000. Tien and Goku are both 102,000. Goku received a Zenkai, and it put him at the same base power as Tien, except Tien still has a Kaioken, and can now push it up to as far as ×10 with some strain. Kami is underestimated by them, but he actually gets much stronger, and gets a higher boost than 12 times, and that's the same one everyone has currently, although he is still the weakest, but only trailing slightly behind at 100,000. Everyone arrive and split off with 2 radars. Piccolo and Kami go to a nearby village, which is near the ship, while Tien and Goku head to one further out. Tien and Goku arrive, and the villagers are getting ready to fight, but they say they come in peace, and are only here to revive one of their fallen comrades. The Namekians calm down, explaining they thought these guys were more of Frieza's men. Goku and Tien are confused, but the Namekians explain, and give the Dragon Ball to the two. They then fly away, and run into Frieza's soldier, capturing Namekians. Goku and Tien both take out soldiers with ease, and they follow by carrying the Namek back over to the village. They are still completely confused at what's happening here, but it makes a lot more sense now. The huge power levels on the ship and multiple more, some good, some evil. They're then directed towards Guru's place by the elder at the village. On the other side of Namek, Piccolo and Kami run into the village Frieza is at. Dodoria steps up and the Namekian's warriors stand no chance. That's when both Kami and Piccolo rush in. Piccolo using a solar flare to blind everybody there. Kami jumps in and with an explosive wave obliterates Dodoria. He then kicks Frieza out of his chair and flying further back, followed by grabbing Mori, Dende, and Cargo, and the Dragon Ball that they had. Mori thanks the two, and then directs them towards Guru's place. They arrive the same time that the other two do. They meet, and both are very confused at what's happening here. They enter the building after being told by Mori to do so. Inside, they meet Guru, who reads everybody's minds and gives them the Dragon Ball. But that's not all he does. He unlocks everyone's potential. This increases everyone's power again. But back to the village, Frieza is enraged. He tells Zarbon to go after the group and get the Dragon Balls. Zarbon does so, and at the same time, they all split up again and go different directions to the remaining 4 Dragon Balls. Zarbon runs into Piccolo, who remembers that he was at the village, and he tries to fight. But Zarbon stands no chance. Even after using his final form, Zarbon is easily killed. Piccolo also notices the scouter that Zarbon was wearing. It gives a signal from a ship. He wonders if that's where the Dragon Balls are. But Goku and Kami succeed in finding their separate Dragon Balls, and followed by meeting at Guru's place. The last 2 Dragon Balls are both at Frieza's ship. That's a problem. Tien and Piccolo meet up outside and have to come up with a plan. Piccolo knows that he blinded Frieza before attacking, so he doesn't know what he looks like. Or it's just because every Namekian looks almost the same. Just had to get that out of the way. But Piccolo has a plan. He uses his clothes beam on 2 rocks, turning them both into Dragon Balls. Tien asks what he's planning, and he thinks that Piccolo is crazy. Piccolo's plan is to go inside and convince Frieza that he brought these Dragon Balls for him, and then Tien creating a distraction, in which Piccolo grabs the real Dragon Balls and runs out. Tien still thinks this is a bit of a weird plan, but he lets it slide because he doesn't have anything better. He knows Frieza is mad powerful, and given the right opportunity, he could overpower them. So they execute the plan. Piccolo enters the ship and is stopped by a few soldiers, but he shouts to Frieza saying he brought Dragon Balls for him. Frieza's intrigued but confused. Why would a Namekian bring him Dragon Balls? Piccolo explains that he didn't want to die, so he took out his village and brought these. Frieza runs with this and uses his scouter to check Piccolo's power level. Even while suppressed, Piccolo's power level is at 50,000 after getting his potential unlocked. And Frieza asks Piccolo to join his elite force as a gift for bringing these Dragon Balls. Piccolo goes along with this, and he telepathically communicates with Tien, telling him to do it. Tien powers up into Kaioken and starts to shoot blasts all over the ship, and a few through the glass that create a smoke screen. Piccolo goes around Frieza and lays his own ki blast on the ground to slow Frieza down. He goes into the main room and finds the Dragon Balls. He throws the 2 out, but Frieza enters the room. He goes to use a solar flare, but it doesn't work. Frieza grabs his arm. Although after getting his potential unlocked, Piccolo is stronger than Frieza's first form. He's able to land a kick to him, sending him crashing through the ship. Piccolo then follows by grabbing the Dragon Balls, throwing him out, running out of the ship, grabbing Tien, and trying to escape to Guru's place. But just as they do, they see 5 powers appear. 5 ships are in the air. The 2 blast the ships, killing everybody inside. Frieza had called in the Ginyu Force, but the 2 had just dealt with them that easily. He is mad. Frieza follows the 2 all the way back to Guru's ship, where Nail is told to take Kami and grant the wish. But Frieza gets there, although he's met by Goku, Tien, and Piccolo. He jumps into his 3rd form, but they all are able to fight him still. Even though their base powers aren't matching up to Frieza, their teamwork, just like they did with Raditz, is able to match up to him. Frieza then powers up into his final form, and now is giving them a real fight, a real challenge. But same time, Piranga is summoned. Nail makes a wish, but Frieza shouts his wish as well, thinking he had now became immortal, and so did the others. But Nail telepathically communicates with everybody, saying that the Namekian dragon only understands the Namekian language, and to state their other wishes. They don't really have any, but they wish back all the Namekians. But then Nail notices Guru's light fading, as Frieza continues to beat down on Goku, Tien, and Piccolo. Guru tells Kami to enter the room. As he puts his hand out, he tells Kami that his life is about to be over, but he wants himself to live inside of Kami as a fellow guardian, asking Kami to accept this. Kami does so, and Guru puts his hand on Kami, fusing into him. This gives Kami a huge boost in power, about 15 times. This pushes Kami up to 10 million, and he joins the fight against Frieza. Frieza is starting to get mad now. He thinks he's immortal, so he doesn't bother to power up any further. But that's a mistake, because Kami rushes in and is able to surprise him. When Frieza realizes he's in healing, he curses the world and puts up an energy barrier, now mad. Actually, absolutely pissed at everything that's happening. Everybody keeps getting stronger and attacking him, and he doesn't even get his wish, and now the stupid dragon is gone. He powers up into 100%, and then Kami is about to be nearly killed when Frieza uses a Destructo Disc. But Piccolo saves him, jumping in front of Kami, taking the hit. But Piccolo isn't fully dead either. He had fused with Nail, since Nail and he alone weren't doing much for the fight, and Nail was inspired by what Guru did. This put Piccolo at 2 million power level, but that's not it. It still wasn't enough. The last strand is Piccolo looking at Kami, and Kami back. They know what to do. Kami puts his hand on Piccolo, as the two then fuse. The ultimate fusion is born. Kami, Piccolo, Guru, Nail. Piccolo is the creation, and he is mad powerful. Now, I can't exactly give an exact power boost for this, but combining both Kami and Guru's fusion, plus Piccolo and Nail's fusion, puts them about 12 million, and multiply that by 30 times as a lowball boost for the 4-way fusion, skyrocketing Piccolo in power, up to 360 million. Now, I know some of you guys might be thinking this is a huge power boost, and I'm highballing it, like, highballing it. But, in the original series, Nail and Piccolo's fusion was about a 10 times increase, and Kami and Piccolo's fusion was far greater than that. If anything, this should be around a 50 times boost. But power scaling aside, this is more than enough to fight Frieza. The ultimate Namekian not only takes on and overpowers Frieza, but kills him too. Frieza tries to blow up the planet, but it's countered by a God Special Beam Cannon, and it goes through him, killing the tyrant. Piccolo stands victor, and all the Namekians praise him. Afterwards, Mori takes Guru's place as Guardian and creates a new set of Dragon Balls, teleporting everyone off Namek and back to Earth, also using the Dragon Balls to hide Namek from future invaders. But what happens with Piccolo? Well, I didn't let them take Dende for good reason. Piccolo is now half Dragon Clan and half Warrior Clan. With the knowledge of Guru and Kami, theoretically he can make Dragon Balls. Emphasize on theoretically. The combined experience from Guru and Kami about the Dragon Balls should pass on to Piccolo, and he should be able to do this. Piccolo takes his rightful role as a guardian of Earth, and finally earns the full trust of Tien and the others. He creates a new set of Dragon Balls, ones that are far more powerful than any other before them, with the exception of the Super Dragon Balls. This version can grant 3 wishes and can revive multiple people with 1 wish. Following this, everyone trains up further, more and more, and now they're getting much stronger, and they're gonna need this training, as a future threat lurks in the shadows. King Cold has noticed his son's death. He wasn't able to find Namek, but he knows that a Namekian had killed his son. He had tracked one down. Earth it is. So, King Cold has been lurking in the galaxy, but since there has been no life of Frieza, he gives up on that front, and stops looking for him. And that means there won't be any Mecha Frieza. But this results in King Cold being a bit more paranoid than in the original. Frieza never came back and told him about the Saiyans or the Namekians. He doesn't know how strong they are, so he decides to do some training. He definitely won't get golden or anything like that, but he does get stronger. He does maybe a month of training before thinking he's ready to go to Earth. In that time on Earth, Piccolo decided since he's Guardian, he should communicate with the higher-ups. He talks with King Yama and even King Kai. King Kai interests him since he taught Tien Kaioken. He doesn't want to ask Ten Shinhan, so using his weak form of teleportation, he makes it up to Snake Way. Kami was able to do this, so I don't see why Piccolo wouldn't. He had years of training with Kami, so I think he would have taught him. And if that wasn't it, then Piccolo's guardian power should allow him to do this anyways, because it was never explained how Kami got it in the first place. In seconds, he arrives on King Kai's planet, and King Kai is shocked to see him there. Piccolo, out of respect, bows and asks King Kai to teach him the Kaioken. King Kai is taken aback by the request, but of course he accepts this, seeing no reason why he couldn't. In under a month, Piccolo learns Kaioken, and then heads back to Earth to go into the Time Chamber so he can master this quicker. He had also upgraded the Time Chamber because he likes to spend a lot of time there. He's practically only around 12 years old, and so the room doesn't have that much of an effect on his age. He goes and spends about a year, mastering the Kaioken. He tries to use up to times 20, and after a couple months, is able to do so. Goku in the original was able to do this around 6 days, but he was under pressure and was doing it because there was going to be enemies on Namek. But Piccolo isn't. He has no idea King Cold is out there looking for him, trying to kill him. And Piccolo actually takes his time, wanting to master every stage as he goes. First times 10, then times 20. And by the end of the year, he can even go up to times 50 for short bursts. One day, Goku does come up to the lookout, and is looking to train. He has been slacking for a while, but now, since Frieza's dealt with and everything, and Piccolo is the strongest on Earth, he wants to sort of train with him. Popo directs him towards the room, and he enters it, now wanting to train with Piccolo, who gladly actually accepts. And Goku actually came here because he was wondering if there was a way for him to get stronger. Piccolo does know something. From fusing with Guru, he knows all about the Namekian Book of Legends. He tells Goku about Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God. Of course, the Super Saiyan God is pretty impossible right now. It requires God Ki, or a ritual that also requires 6 good Saiyans, and there are only 2 in the world, at least to their knowledge. So Goku tries to unlock Super Saiyan, but with minimum knowledge about it, Piccolo can't help him out much. He just says it makes you yellow, but it requires a great amount of rage. Goku focuses on the thought of Frieza killing someone he cared about, or a future threat that could harm his friends. It takes a while for this to work since he hasn't actually experienced a heavy loss, but he thinks, and remembers his grandfather's death. He knows it was him, and with that thought, the rage boils up of him killing his grandfather, and he finally accesses Super Saiyan. But this is all in the time chamber as well, just to mention that. Piccolo and Goku go at it with their highest transformation. Piccolo using Kaioken and Goku Super Saiyan. They're matched pretty evenly with Piccolo at times 10 and Goku at Super Saiyan. But when Piccolo powers up a bit further, Goku is weaker. Throughout this time, Goku works on increasing his base power, so he can actually match Piccolo, and eventually it is time for them to come out, because they've been there too long. But as they do, they sense an immense power heading towards Earth. It's similar to Frieza's Ki, but it can't be him. Piccolo made sure of that. The two look at each other and start flying. The ship is landing at the other side of the planet, but suddenly it's attacked. Piccolo and Goku are still gonna take a while to get there, but it's not them. Who could it be? King Cold thinks the Namekian is attacking the ship, so immediately he powers up in his 4th and final form. King Cold is extremely powerful. I would say up to 7 times stronger than final form Frieza. But is he strong enough for what's attacking? Multiple people board the ship and kill everyone in sight, up until they get to Cold. 3 of them attack and fight Cold, and Cold is actually able to match the 3. His final form is very powerful, and the 3 mysterious fighters are knocked back. But where is the 4th? From behind Cold, a few hands clutch onto his face, and suddenly he feels weakened. Like his energy, it's being drained. He tries to break out, but the other 3 get in front of him, grabbing his arms and legs. Cold is almost killed, but the 4th man says take him. They grab the knockout Cold, and take him back to a mysterious cave in a bunker. While that happens, Goku and Piccolo finally reach the ship, and see nothing. It's been destroyed. Piccolo is worried. That wasn't them. What else on Earth could combat such a power? He contacts all of Earth's forces, Tien, Gohan, Krillin, and Yamcha to meet up on the lookout, inform them about what just happened, saying they need to be prepared for whatever this is. Piccolo is the god of Earth, so they respect him and do what he says. He sends Krillin and Yamcha to King Kai's planet, noting that they don't have the biggest base power, and the only way for the humans to get stronger besides just training is to unlock some techniques that can increase their power. Therefore, the Kaioken. He sends Goku and Gohan into the time chamber so Gohan can learn Super Saiyan, and he and Tien will train together. But while they all prepare for their training, far away we see those 4 mysterious figures again. Inside the cave, we see what's happening. There's a lab where Dr. Gero and androids 13, 14, and 15 are residing, working on the Red Ribbon Army's revenge. Let's recap on what's been happening with Dr. Gero. Since the Red Ribbon Army was destroyed, clearly he went through the same phases in the original. He went mad and started coming up with a plan to kill Goku and his friends. But after seeing the upbringing of Piccolo and seeing how strong he and Goku were getting, he decided he was going to need more than just 17 and 18. He did think about just abandoning all of them and working on Project Cell, but he thought numbers would work in his favor. When that Tien guy showed promise, he analyzed the Kaioken. taking Tien's, Goku's, Piccolo's, and Kami's DNA, and then later on Gohan's. He even went as far as to get Raditz's, Vegeta, and Nappa's, after which he sent a drone to Namek, following the ship where he analyzed their training once more, and got Frieza's DNA. Unfortunately, he was not able to collect Frieza up and analyze him more, but he got a strand of the Frost Demon's blood, and now he has a whole Frost Demon to himself, a stronger King Cold, far stronger than Frieza, and one that has 4 transformations. 3 years pass, with Jiro perfecting his creation. He makes King Cold more powerful, enhancing him and even giving him another transformation. He ditches Project Cell, and since King Cold, or Android 21, seems to be his perfect creation, he infuses Cell within Cold, and finishes both 17 and 18. His wrath is about to come onto the Earth. But 3 years is a lot of time for the Earth's fighters to train. Both Krillin and Yamcha learn Kaioken, and in 3 years can push it up to times 20 with 0 difficulty. Gohan learns the Super Saiyan after a while, with Goku pushing him. He and Goku both even go on to unlock a further power, something they call Grade 2. Piccolo and Tien also further master Kaioken, with Piccolo being able to use times 100 now, and Tien too, but it comes with strain and they can't hold it for too long, although it is something they can use. This takes up all their time though, and the day comes for Jiro to enact his revenge. A huge explosion goes off in Ginger Town, and every building, every person is destroyed. Piccolo and everyone immediately sense this, and he moves the lookout to the location of the tragedy, enraged at himself for not being able to stop this. He and the group face the androids and Cold. From now on, I'll be referring to him as 21, but Piccolo notices a resemblance in him. I mean, he definitely looks like Frieza, but he can practically sense his ki. The others are different. Their ki is unsensible, but this 21's energy is sort of detectable. He feels this ki, and remembers back to 3 years ago, where a ship came to Earth. He knows who this is. It's that same person who came to attack Earth. These are the guys who abducted and kidnapped him. Piccolo isn't feeling confident. They might be strong, but it feels like this fight might not go in their favor. Piccolo, Goku, Tien, Gohan, Krillin, and Yamcha face off against 21, 17, 18, 13, 14, 15, 16, and Jiro. They're outnumbered, but that's not all, as 21 has something up his sleeve, a new enhancement that he can't wait to pull out and show the Z Fighters. So there are a lot more androids now. Clearly everyone is set on killing Goku, but there are a lot of people to kill here. The Z Fighters and androids rush at each other. The androids are much more powerful, mad powerful, and no one is able to handle them just yet. Everyone powers up to their max stages, with Goku using Grade 2. He tries to fight 21, but 21's 4th form alone is just giving him a challenge. Remember how I mentioned he had an enhancement? We'll just have to wait and see what that is. He's saving that for the endgame. On the other hand, 14 and 15 are fighting Yamcha and Krillin. They're hoping to have better luck against the two androids, and they're fighting back even harder. Kaioken times 20 is definitely needed here, but the two androids fight back, having this technique learned and knowing weaknesses to it. The two are even pushed to use times 50, which they can hold with some strain. They decide to attack Android 15 together, as he seems the weaker of the two. They both punch him, and the combined efforts of the two stuns the android. They then go to finish him, but 14 attacks him from behind. The numbers games are in the favor of the androids. There's multiple more of them. Piccolo and Tien are hoping to have better luck against 17 and 18. Of course, Jiro had accounted for the Kaioken, but not to the extent that both Piccolo and Tien took it to. Neither of them can do far too much with Kaioken times 50, them being stronger. But when taking the Kaioken times 100, the two lunge at 17 and 18, landing a combo of attacks, followed by a combined Ki Blast, which evaporates them. That's 2 down, just a few more to go. Gon is trying to fight Jiro, who seems to be the weakest out of them all. Of course, Jiro, working on all of these androids, had neglected his own strength, because he had so many people to protect him. And that plays out here, as 16 saves him. 16, being one of the stronger bots, is able to knock a Grade 2 Gohan back easily. After finishing off 17 and 18, Piccolo and Tien rush in to help him, but 16 just seems to be far too powerful for them to take on. They try combo moves and such, but it just doesn't work. Although, while fighting him, while actually getting their ass kicked, they give Gohan enough time to recover, and actually kill Jiro. 16 isn't having it. He fires a Ki Blast at Tien, supposedly killing him. This enrages Piccolo and Gohan as they start to fight together against 16, giving Gohan a rage boost, and this is able to fight better, and it holds 16 off for a while. On the other hand though, let's switch back to Goku, who is really struggling with 21. To put it simply, he too is getting his ass kicked, and can't keep it up much longer. But that's not all. As he goes in for a punch, he clenches his chest, and starts to breathe heavily. He falls to the ground screaming in pain. The heart virus has struck, and Goku is starting to die. Like I've said in previous videos, I believe Goku either got the heart virus from how he lived as a kid, or the 3-year gap between Namek and the androids. It very well could have been Yardrat, but that was never confirmed. It would be very good if Toriyama did confirm it though. But with that, let's move on with the story. Goku screams as everyone wonders what's happening with him. They're occupied fighting for their lives, but Krillin is able to rush in to Goku's aid, giving him a senzu, but it doesn't work. Goku just slowly fades away, dying. This makes Gohan stop, as he can't sense his father's energy anymore. He just stands there, and then his aura bursts, his hair spikes, and electricity forms around him. He had unlocked Super Saiyan 2, a power that was always in him, but it took rage to unlock. But this isn't just any Super Saiyan 2. This time around is more enraged, more angered, and he first takes out 16 with little to no ease, with a flurry of kicks and punches, followed by a ki blast, killing him. He then shifts his attention to 21, who smiles, saying this might give him an actual challenge. 21 and Super Saiyan 2 Gohan fight. He and Gohan are actually pretty even, but Gohan's rage is giving him the slight upper hand. 21 has been holding back for a while. Like previously mentioned multiple times, Jiro given him advancement and an enhancement, and not to mention an infinite engine, meaning he never runs out of energy. So even though the transformation is heavily straining him, he is able to do this completely freely because it's negated because of the infinite engine. 21 starts to power up, and Piccolo yells at everybody to blast him. They can't afford to get another power up, and it could kill them all. But 14, 15, and 13 are all there, ready to attack. Just then, Tien appears again, revealing that he didn't die, but he was heavily injured. Tien grows 4 arms and throws a senzu at Piccolo and Gohan, all they had left. 21's transformation is going to take a little time, much like how Frieza's 4th form did, but this is just going to take a bit longer since it is a 5th transformation. 13, 14, and 15 together fight the Z Fighters and a newly found Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Together, they are able to knock them all down. The Z Fighters are much stronger here, crushing both 14 and 15. But as they go to do the same to 13, pieces of the other 2 androids lift up as 13 smirk. They all come up to him, enhancing him, slowly making him bigger and bigger, not only making his skin blue, but buff and more powerful. He lays waste to the group. This newfound power is unmatched, even by Gohan. 13 beats down Gohan brutally, pounding him, leaving him unable to move because he is the biggest threat. He needs to neutralize that first. He follows by killing Krillin, and no one can do anything to stop them. Right then, 21 finishes his transformation, and it's revealed that his power far surpasses even the newly powered 13. The Z Fighters are at their lowest, but Piccolo has something he can try to use to form a distraction that will allow the others to escape. Piccolo starts to enlarge and using his gigantification to grow huge, something he hadn't tried since the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament. But King Cold laughs, saying size doesn't mean strength. Piccolo then says the size was just a distraction, as everyone had slowly made their escape, lowering their power. He then splits himself into 3, and all 3 of themselves attack the 2 androids, also powering up into Kakarot times 100 while giant. And this is a suitable distraction and a good fighting technique. While Piccolo tries something he learned from Krillin, something he calls a solar flare times 100, and while giant, he for sure will hit them. He then drops out of his giant form, while letting his other 2 attack the 2 androids still. While not hurting them, it holds them off, and Piccolo thinks he can use something for a split second. His body, after fusing with Kami, Guru, and Nail, has become way better at regenerating. So, for a split second, he powers up into Kakarot times 500, landing a powerful kick to both androids, following by escaping. It was good he could survive this long, but now the Kaioken starts to have an effect on him while flying. He loses his arm, but is able to regrow it, then his leg. He can keep this up for maybe another 15 seconds, but the exhaustion catches up to him and he has to completely lower his ki, slowly flying to the lookout. Of course, the androids know the current location of the lookout, but just as Piccolo arrives, he teleports it halfway across the planet. After they mourn their loss, Piccolo and the group realize there is no better way to beat the androids. They just have to train and get stronger. Yamcha actually survived this time around, and he goes to get Bulma, who luckily has made it due to her being shielded from the blast by some technology. Dr. Breeze wanted to die, if his animals would, and his wife chose to stay with him. Bulma thinks of a time machine, but Piccolo shuts that down, saying the only way they can do this is by taking out 13 and 21. Speaking of, the two are going around and destroying everything in sight, easily. They do get bored and try to find the lookout, but Piccolo tries to, teleport it around every now and then, so they don't catch up to him. They do like to blow things up though. On the lookout, Piccolo says he can keep moving the lookout so they aren't found. But Tien, Yamcha, and Gohan need to go into the Room of Spirit and Time. Gohan has to master this new Super Saiyan power, and Yamcha and Tien can just increase their strength. The three go in with no problem, as Bulma had saved herself a bunch of capsules that is actually just storing a buttload of other capsules. Food isn't a problem. They all go in, and Yamcha and Tien eventually get Gohan to tap into Super Saiyan 2 again. I mean, it wasn't that difficult. The loss was just everywhere. All the dead people, including his father and Krillin. Tien and Yamcha, on the other hand, needed to get stronger. Sure, Kaioken and all, but that only goes so far. Yamcha explains, though, the 2 years he spent on the other world with Krillin taught him more than just the Kaioken. He learned a new technique, the Metamorph Infusion. So, Yamcha knows the Metamorph Infusion. How? Well, he explains. While he was in the other world, he and Krillin had already believed they were mastering the Kaioken early on, and wanted to learn some pretty cool new techniques that King Kai said were in the other world that they could learn. So, he did let them wander off into heaven and hell, where eventually they ended up meeting a few Metamorphs. We've never actually seen the Metamorphs, so let's assume that they look like Yardratians from Z and not Super, because it was completely retconned. But, therefore, they teach Yamcha and Krillin the fusion dance. They tried it, and although failing multiple times, eventually did get it, and the power was immense. Krillin and he never got to try it in the fight, because he died. But now that they're in the time chamber, Yamcha decides to teach it to not only Tien, but Gohan as well, just cause why not? It's just a very useful technique to have in case they're in a pinch. Although, Yamcha and Tien are the main focus for this fusion, as the two are the perfect people to do it with each other. Tien messes up a few times, but when they get it and create Tiencha, the power is immense. Tiencha trains with Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and after easily being able to push it to Kaioken times 100, he overpowers Gohan by a significant amount. As the two continue to train, Tiencha does end up beating him. On the outside, Piccolo is worried. He doesn't know what to do. He can't really train since he keeps on having to move the lookout every 15 minutes. But he does have the Dragon Balls with him, so maybe they can do something else. He isn't sure, but if it is the only option they have for now, he might just do it. After Yamcha, Tien, and Gohan come out of the time chamber, Piccolo summons Shenron and they wonder what he's doing. Immediately, 21 and 13 know where they are, because they see Shenron, so they fly at their full speed. Piccolo makes the wish, and just as they arrive and launch their blast, suddenly the lookout and the Z Fighters disappear. They reappear across the galaxy above Namek. Piccolo had made a wish to teleport them to Namek so they can figure out a plan, and Piccolo could have time to train too. The others aren't very happy with this because they believe they were strong enough to now take them down, but Piccolo doesn't believe so. The Namekians, of course, recognize Piccolo and Tien, and gladly take him into their homes, where they go and meet up with Muri. Muri reads their minds, realizing what happened. Piccolo wants to train on Namek for a little bit, and then use the upgraded Purunga to teleport to the Earth, kill the two androids, and then revive everybody using either Purunga or Shenron. Doesn't really matter to him. So they do this, and Piccolo even learns Fusion too, thinking it's a useful technique. Tiencha trains with Piccolo and Gohan, fighting them at the same time. With Kaioken times 100, he is able to fight them together, but clearly he's struggling. This is more of an even fight. This is going well, but Piccolo thinks they aren't getting much stronger. At least he isn't. But that's when Muri tells him about a planet where he can train, and maybe learn some new techniques to help him win. He mentions a planet called Yardrat. Piccolo agrees to go, telling the three to continue training. This might be his best way to get stronger since Piccolo doesn't have any transformations. Mori leads him to a ship, similar to Kami's, and Piccolo then flies to Yardrat. Paibara meets him, and greets him at the same time, reading his mind, same as Mori. Because he clearly should know how to do this, at least I think so. He gives him a new change of clothing, and Piccolo agrees to start training under him, having similar training to what Vegeta did, learning instant transmission. But he doesn't go for Force Spirit Fission. He instead learns the Gigantification and healing. He's attracted to the healing thing, because it just helps him in battles, and he's a guardian so it could be useful. Mori tried to teach him, but it wasn't that great. This is much better. But the Dragon Clan Namekians also have this technique, so it just kind of feels right for him to have it. And he learns the Yardrat Gigantification because he wanted to improve his own version of it, realizing it did help in the fight against 21 and 13. He finishes up his training, and it turned out better than he thought. He thanks Paibara and teleports to Namek, where Tien, Yamcha, and Gohan have gotten stronger but impatient. Gohan has also gotten his age boost at this point, but he looks much more like his future self because of the scar from his fight with 13. Piccolo grabs hold of everyone, also thanks Mori, teleporting to Earth. 21 and 13 immediately sense him arriving and rushing over there. They all prepare to fight as Yamcha and Tien both fuse into Tiencha, realizing that they are going to need this. As the two arrive, everybody pieces off into their own fighting stance. Piccolo and Gohan fight 21, while Tiencha slowly takes on 13. Tiencha and 13 fight pretty evenly. At Kakarot times 100, he is trading blows with 13, landing a thunderous punch, which is countered by a stunning kick. Fusion then cuffs his hands together and sends 13 down to the ground, followed by powering up into Kakarot times 200 and using something he calls the volleyball fan, a combination of the volleyball fist and the wolf fang fist. He uses this, and as he's about to land the final blow, they split. The Kakarot catches up to them. Using 100 for such a long time and 200 for short periods, it does wear them out and the fusion time decreases, now labeling them unable to fight 13. He smirks and starts to lay his beat down. While still considerably strong split, they aren't nearly as much of a match at 13 as they were before. Kakarot times 100 does help, but it only lowers the damage they receive. It doesn't do anything else for them. While they get beat down, both Piccolo and Gohan continue to fight cold, with Gohan using Super Saiyan 2 and Piccolo his new techniques alongside the Kaioken. Every now and then he teleports behind 21 and stretches his arms out, then enlarging them, gripping him tightly, which allows Gohan to land a few punches. But 21 is able to break out with his sheer aura and lands a solid blow to Piccolo, but he heals himself. He then takes on Gohan, who is also just enraged at the sight of him. He still believes the death of Goku to be his fault, and Gohan and 21 have a one-on-one for a while, with Gohan nearly closing the gap between their power with the rage boost, and just growing older helped him fight him. Then Piccolo realizes that Gohan has it covered, at least for some time, and goes to help Yamcha and Tien. While getting their ass kicked, Piccolo helping out does help them a lot, but 13 is still able to kill Yamcha, and that comes as a hard hit. When Tien tries to do the dance again, that's when it ends. From afar, Piccolo grows huge, and brings 13 close to his eyes, using Solar Flare times 100 once more. As it worked before, he doesn't see any reason why it wouldn't now, and it does work. He then tells Tien to do it, as they perform the fusion dance, and they turn into Tienkolo? I'm not sure what to call it, so let me know what you think down in the comments. But this fusion is far stronger than the Tiencha one, and it can hold Kakarot times 200 with little effort. It powers up and fights 13, landing a flurry of kicks and punches, followed by a Neo Special Beam Cannon, which finally ends him. One android down, one more to go. 21. The perfect creation is the last hope for the Red Ribbon Army, and while he is able to beat down on Gohan and take him down for now, Tienkolo rushes in at Kaioken times 500, wanting to end this fast, making every punch and kick count, a flurry of repeated punches then kicks, making everything count for all the lives his threat had taken. He follows by using the same technique, the Neo Special Beam Cannon, but mid-fight, they split, and the beam is weakened, which allows 21 to counter it and attack the two, doing heavy damage. But suddenly, he clenches his head, screaming in pain. Piccolo takes his chance to teleport everybody to the lookout, and he heals them all, giving Gohan a Zenkai. But right then, a mysterious person teleports in, saying they need to come with him right away. While confused, after giving his name to Piccolo, he obeys the command immediately. He's the Supreme Kai. Shin teleports them to his world, and on Earth, 21 raises his head as it reveals an M on his chest. Yes, that's right. Babidi and Deborah had arrived to revive Majin Buu, and with 21, they are able to do this. He's a perfect creation. He has an infinite engine. They just suck all of his energy, and they're able to revive Fat Buu. Fat Buu is created, and he does kill Deborah for fun, but he doesn't mess with 21, as Majin 21 is pretty even with him in power. With Babidi commanding both of them, they destroy Earth. On Shin's world, Piccolo dams the world and asks what they're doing here. Shin explains Buu to him and says they needed the help of the Guardian of Earth. Piccolo scoffs, saying so much for a Guardian and he couldn't even protect his own planet. Shin denies this, saying Babidi was his responsibility, and it's his fault that Earth was destroyed, but he explains the Z-Sword to Piccolo and says he is worthy. Piccolo tries to lift it, and using Kaioken, he is able to. One question everyone might ask is why Babidi arrived a few years earlier than in canon. We all know Babidi had been searching for energy, so sensing spikes of energy on Earth for weeks gave him reason to go there much sooner, thinking it might be of use. This also led him to find 21, and he read his mind, which is an easy magic ability, and he should be able to do that. That led him to realizing who 21 is, and the fact that he has an infinite engine. This gives him exactly what he needed. So in the time the Z-Fighters were on Namek, Babidi gathered his forces such as Deborah, and then when the fight was raging on, he makes his move, controlling 21, then taking his energy to revive Buu. But what are the Z-Fighters doing? After Piccolo took out the Z-Sword, he trained with it for a while and got far stronger. To his shock, just training while holding the sword made him much stronger than doing normal training, even for a while. Tien and Gohan try, and they also get the hang of it. Shin is angered and wants to speed up the training as Buu is currently going around destroying planets, but Piccolo says they don't stand a chance. 21 is stronger than all of them. Fusion was their only hope, and now 21 is even stronger with an ally as powerful as him, if not stronger. Gohan then comes up with the idea to test the Z-Sword, and Shin agrees, throwing a block of Kachu towards it. And of course, it breaks. Everyone freaks out, especially Piccolo, knowing that the Z-Sword was an asset in their training, speeding their training along. But then Elder Kai shows up, revealing that he was inside the sword. Elder Kai is caught up and realizes the threat of Buu, and of course, he has something he can use to make everyone stronger. But he refuses to do it on everyone, as that would take days for him to do and he would get tired. Plus, he just doesn't want to, although he will grant one person the power, and knowing Piccolo released him, as well as sensing his strongest, he starts to unlock his power. At the same time, suddenly, Goku arrives, with King Kai. Wait, what? Everyone is shocked to see Goku, and Gohan gives him a huge hug. Piccolo gives him a thumbs up to his former best friend and questions him too. Goku explains, he had been watching for a while and after seeing that fight, he really thought they would win. But the new threat that appeared was immense, and when King Kai saw Shin, he was able to track him down and find where the planet was, or the realm. Some of you might be saying King Kai can't do that, but Goku was able to just by sensing Gohan's ki. King Kai is a Kai. Although a lower kind, he can still easily teleport too, so he teleports Goku there. But he can only do it for 24 hours since Goku is still dead, and King Yama wants him back in heaven, or something like that. But since Shin is a Kai and a much higher stature, and realizing that Goku is extremely powerful too, and a big motivator to Gohan and Piccolo, Shin bends the rules being far above King Yama. Goku has also been training a while, and he too unlocks Super Saiyan 2. He and Gohan spar, and surprisingly, Goku is stronger than him. Tien even joins along, and Goku has trouble, but his dead body being, far more able to keep up with power and such, he is still able to keep up. The ritual on Piccolo is nearly complete, and it's revealed after being done that Piccolo doesn't feel any different, but then suddenly his power bursts as he feels Kami, Nail, and Guru inside of him, more than he ever could before. He feels them, he can hear their presence. This gives him a huge power boost. Not just his though, as the Namekians inside him give him strength. It's hard to say how strong Piccolo would be. Gohan only got that big of a boost since his potential was massive, but so is Piccolo's, plus the 3 fused inside of him, alongside his experience with spirit control, which clearly made Vegeta stronger just by knowing it. I will put him at around Ultimate Gohan's level. With all the training, they believe they are ready to go and fight. Clearly Goku can't go since he has to stay on Shin's world and he's dead. He just watches. Piccolo teleports himself, Tien, and Gohan to the planet. Babidi and his Majins are just about to visit. They raise their power levels, catching Babidi's attention. 21, of course, knows who it is, since, he's been sensing their powers for a very long time and has done it multiple times. He, Buu, and other Majins come down, with Piccolo taking on Buu, Gohan taking on 21, and Tien taking on all the other Majins. Tien doesn't really struggle at all. He's easily able to kill Pui Pui. And then when it comes to Yakon, he can't really figure out how to defeat him. So he just powers up into Kaing times 100, and that doesn't work. But then he realizes what he has to do, and does what Goku did, exploding Yakon with all the light he produces. He then fights the rest of the fighters, although Deborah is a challenge. He struggles to fight him, but using full power and brute strength, Kaing times 200 is able to kill him. Gohan powers up into Super Saiyan 2, being much stronger than before. Training with his father in the Z-Sword increases power greatly. But 21, who is now Majin 21, also got a power boost. They trade blows, countering each other with every hit. If Gohan lands a punch, 21 counters with a punch. They fight evenly with neither getting the advantage. But that's a different story with Piccolo. He isn't playing around. He's lost too much now to go back. He immediately kills Babidi, followed by powering up an ultimate and then laying a beatdown on Fat Buu. Buu is acting like Buu, and although getting knocked around easily, is able to heal. Piccolo goes for a final blast, but Buu regenerates again, this time angered. He starts to steam up, but not in the way you think. There is no evil Buu or anything. Instead, Buu starts to split, distracting Piccolo. While Piccolo now fights multiple Buus, slowly Buu's last resort kicks in, and a piece of him splits off. That's a lot of Buus, okay? But Tien had finished off his fight and went to go fight Majin 21 alongside Gohan. Together, Gohan and Tien are able to fight in perfect synergy and lay a beatdown on Majin 21. He's strong, but he's not that strong to take on 2 powerful people at this power. Suddenly, though, he's knocked out of his 5th form all the way down to his 2nd form, also losing his Majin boost. As they're about to finish him, a piece of Buu latches onto him. He tries to shield himself, but it's too late. More pieces rush onto him, completely taking him over, and Buu absorbs him. Piccolo notices Buu morph and is confused. What's happening? Tien and everybody else is confused, but Piccolo looks on in disgust, as something's starting to happen. Suddenly, Shin gets in their minds explaining what happened. They have to run or do something. Boo had absorbed 21 and he's about to get a huge power boost. But Piccolo isn't planning on running. This has gone on far enough. He proposes that Tien and he fuse again. Surely they would be strong enough. But this gives Elder Kai an idea. He pulls out the Potara earrings, telling Shin to teleport in and give them to them. Shin teleports in, throwing the two Potara to the two, telling Gohan to hold Boo off. Gohan tries his best, but the new King Boo is so strong. He lays a beatdown on Gohan, nearly beating him to death. Boo is now smarter, more evil, and not as clean as he was, so that kind of practice into the evil part. Piccolo and Tien, on the other hand, are explained to put on the Potara. There's no time to explain. They really realize that they're in panic, so they have no choice. Putting them on, they suddenly get pulled towards each other, and then they fuse. Gohan is about to die when suddenly the new fusion appears in front of Boo, grabbing his hand. Powering up an ultimate, he looks on, saying, "Hi, I'm Tienkalo." King Boo and Tienkalo fight, with King Boo being strong, but not as strong as Ultimate Tienkalo. He's just far too strong. Finally, Boo dies, and 21 alongside him. They just took out two threats at the same time. Tienkalo heals Gohan, and teleports to Shin's world, where they get the news that they'll be stuck together forever. Which comes as a shock, but they accept it, and suddenly defuse. Yeah, that got retconned fast. They're all confused, but it's really whatever. The threat is finally over. Using Piranha, Piccolo brings everyone and everything that the injured hurt back to life, and then what Babidi and Boo did too. The final wish is to bring Goku back, and he tries, but it doesn't work. He's saddened, but Goku says it's fine. It's just not meant to be. Piccolo returns as the Guardian of Earth, but he now craves more, wanting to go to Shin's world again. A 6-year time of peace approaches them. Now, Piccolo is a little conflicted. He wants to stay on Earth and remain its guardian, but he also wants to head over to the Supreme Kai's realm. Although he knows Gohan, Tien, and the other revived Z fighters can probably handle the protection of the Earth. Still, he struggles with this for about a year, and eventually in his training with Tien, it comes up. Tien encourages him to go and do it. He and Gohan can handle it from here, easily. Plus, if there is any trouble, everyone knows the fusion dance, so they can use that. Piccolo is reassured, and uses his transmission to teleport to Gohan and inform him. Gohan is okay with this, and Piccolo leaves. As he teleports to Shin's world, he finds himself in a field, with Shin, Kibito, and the old Kai. They knew he was coming. Piccolo starts his training, and he actually comes up with an idea in which he can train that would make him extremely powerful, even more so than the Z-Sword did. As he becomes an apprentice Kai alongside Kibito, he learns to form things, such as blocks of Kachin, use the Kai, and more techniques among those. But the Kachin is especially important. The Z-Sword was made out of the strongest material, yet it was destroyed by it. Piccolo thinks if he hones his skill well enough, he can forge a sword made out of basically that metal. While he works on that, his knowledge increases by the day. Piccolo learns of the 18 universes, being told 6 were erased by Zeno, and unlike Goku, that frightens him. He's also informed of the God of Destruction, who he isn't that afraid of. On his travels to explore the universes, he and Shin eventually visit Universe 10, where Piccolo meets Zamasu, who is still mostly pure of heart, while still having the urge to destroy mortals. Piccolo feels it, but since there was no time travel, it isn't nearly unraveled yet. They share similarities. Piccolo and Zamasu train daily, starting to become good friends, as they bond over the fact that they're apprentice Kais, and are stronger than the current Kai. Pretty strong in their own right too. Also, they're both green. And remember, Zamasu was stronger than a Super Saiyan Goku at the start of the Goku Black Saga, so I would put him around, this time, stronger than a Super Saiyan 3 Goku in the Buu Saga. This puts him and Piccolo pretty even, if Piccolo is just using Kaioken times 50 and not Ultimate. They spar with this. Zamasu also talks about the small part of himself that has a hatred of mortals, and Piccolo explains to him how he was bad at first too, and his father was Earth's biggest threat at the time. But mortals changed him, and now he's an apprentice Kai. This eases Zamasu, and slowly as time passes, his hatred for mortals does too. Piccolo, on one of his trips back to Universe 7, is finally ready to try it. With his extensive training, with forming things, and help from Zamasu, he may be able to create a sword purely made out of Kachin. He stands in a field, as the Kais of Universe 7 watch, and Zamasu even teleports in to watch his friend's progress. Piccolo puts out his hand, as he starts to form something. First, the handle. It works. He struggles, but after some time, he's also able to make the guard. As he continues, it's time for the blade. The sword grows heavier as Piccolo starts to lose focus, but he's encouraged by Zamasu and then the others. He wants to do this and he will do this. As his power skyrockets, an ultimate aura surrounds him, and the blade is formed. It connects with the guard and handle. One problem though, the sword is extremely heavy, and Piccolo actually has to heal himself after doing this because it took a lot of effort to make something that heavy and powerful. Quick intermission. This is completely theoretical and made up by me. There was no say that the Kachin metal could be turned into a sword. but seeing that Shin made a cube, it could be safe to assume that other shapes can be formed with it as well. But just to show Piccolo's progress, I made it a challenge for him. With that explained, let's get back into the story. After a while, much like how Gohan did with the Z-Sword, Piccolo starts to get the hang of it. He can tell it's a lot heavier, much sharper, and potent than the Z-Sword. He trains with it, and I would say it doubles the gains Gohan got originally. Piccolo has about 6 months of training with this, and it makes him extremely powerful, now being able to fight Zamasu with no problem, in just his base. As he and Zamasu grow closer and stronger, Earth has yet again faced a new challenge. On Earth, we see a time machine land, from an alternate future. Out of it comes a cocoon, which later reveals imperfect Cell. Wait, what? How is Cell here? What's happening? Well, Cell from the future where events play out normally is in this timeline of this what if. He does his research knowing that he can't win in this state. Soon he finds Jiro's lab. Inside are many pods, all empty, except for something titled Failsafe, an army of Android 19s. A lot of you in my comments were asking what happened to Android 19. I decided that no android goes to waste, and this is how Jiro implemented 19 in this story. If for some reason his original plan fails, he would still have 19, or should I say 19s to complete it. Now I know Jiro probably didn't have enough time to fill this, but let's just cover that up as a plot hole, and he actually ended up doing so somehow. Cell smirks as he opens the pods one by one. He now has an army, and it's under his command, as he reprogrammed them from what he learned from Jiro. And if some of you think he can't do this, well, the 19s know that Cell was supposed to be the perfect creation, so they would listen to him. Over time, since the 19's ki can't be sensed due to them being androids, they collect humans for Cell, hundreds at a time, who he all absorbs for power. While this is a slow process, thousands of humans increase his power massively, but this doesn't go unnoticed. Hundreds of people going missing by the day is mentioned on the news, and missing posters are placed all throughout the city. A newly found cop, Krillin, is on the case. He does some detective work and finds out that it's actually many people that are going missing at one point. It's either a big gang or something else, some major threat to Earth. After a while of finding nothing, he decides to try a different angle, luring the enemy in, flying to a fully populated city, and sure enough, it works. He spots multiple things, or people in the air flying from all different directions. As one of them comes down, he immediately recognized the look, the clothing, and the symbol. Red ribbon androids. Krillin is horror-struck, remembering that he was killed by them, but he can't back down. Krillin rushes at the one who just took off with someone, kicking him directly in the face in Kaioken. He catches the woman, dropping her on the ground. Krillin follows by going back around and punching the droid as he does. 19 is stunned, but he's powerful too. He attacks back at Krillin, who thought he was vastly outclassing the android, but that wasn't the case. 19 and Krillin start to fight, and Krillin takes it up further to ×3. That's when the Z fighters start to notice his power rising. They wonder if he's just training, but why power up into Kaioken? Yamcha goes to check it out just in case, and sure enough, it's not just training. He powers up into Kaioken and joins the fight. They both are nearly about to blast 19 to bits, when another 19 shows up, followed by another, and then more. The numbers are now too much for them to handle. Both power up into Kagen ×10, and start to fight 3 at a time. While they take out some, they are again swarmed by more. It seems they're never ending. Cell can't expose himself just yet, so he sends his entire army and lowers his ki, slowly making it to the battlefield. At this point, Gohan and Tien are aware it's not just training, so they make their way over to the fight as well. When they arrive, they see an army of androids and look at each other, nodding. This is what Piccolo prepared them for, and they won't let him down. And sure as hell will not let another android attack massacre the people. Gohan powers up into Super Saiyan, as Tien uses Kagen ×20. They're able to separate the storm off of both Krillin and Yamcha. Getting back to back, the two spin, firing ki blasts as they do so. Each of them hits the ground in the leg, and then arm, over and over. That is until one rushes down from above and knocks the two together. Gohan launches a Masenko going through multiple 19s. Tien uses multiple Neo Tri-Beams, which destroys a lot of the army. They start to win, but the last batch seems to be more powerful than the rest. Cell had manually upgraded them, noting that he might need backup since he isn't perfect, and turns out it works in his favor. Both of them are kept busy. Cell shortly arrives and watches the crew fight. He powers up and everyone senses this. While Cell isn't perfect, he is stronger than his super perfect form, after absorbing tens of thousands of people every week or so. This puts him pretty strong. Gohan goes away from the Z fighters, powering up himself. Cell notices this and flies up to meet Gohan. He questions if Cell is another android, and responds by saying not quiet, but he is the perfect one. Not for long, shouts Gohan. They both start to fight as Cell gets the upper hand, uppercutting Gohan, followed by a kick, which sends him swirling towards the ground. Gohan retaliates by powering up further, into Super Saiyan 2, and fighting Cell on par now. They both share a flurry of kicks and punches, before getting into a beam struggle which doesn't end with either of them winning. That's when they both reveal they were holding back. Cell has more power within himself, and as he reveals it, Gohan does the same. While Gohan had been training, he'd been looking for a way to go beyond. A while back, he contacted Shin via a device Shin handed him in case he was ever needed. Kibita and Shin arrived, and Gohan asked to be taken to their world. At the time, Piccolo's away training with Zamasu and Gohan. Requested he be taken to Goku, Gohan does so. He was then taken to King Kai's world, where he and Goku met once more. He asked his father about any further transformations, and while Goku did have one, it wasn't perfected. He called it Super Saiyan 3. Gohan stayed in the other world for a while, and ended up accessing it. With the flashback over, he starts to power up, and the new look reveals no eyebrows and extremely long hair. Piccolo senses this from Shin's world, and checks it out, noticing Gohan's amazing power. Gohan and Cell finish with one final clash, as Gohan lands a barrage of punches, followed by an uppercut which leaves Cell open to a kick that sends him into Gohan once more, since he was moving extremely fast, who then fires a Super Kamehameha, obliterating Cell. Tien powers up into Kaioken times 100, and fires a wave of Neo Tri-Beams, not just ending the threat, but also obliterating it. At the end of it all, Piccolo teleported in, congratulating the group on their victory, but all hasn't been won yet, as far away on a distant planet, the god of destruction Beerus wakes up. As Beerus wakes up, he says some nonsense about Saiyans or something. After getting up out of sleep mode, he tells Whis to find him some Saiyans. Whis locates 3. 2 are on a planet named Vampa, and one of them has immense potential. The other one is on planet Earth. He's a hybrid, also with immense potential. Beerus has to choose, and the decision is made far easier for him when Whis gives him some more background information. The Saiyan on Earth is the son of the man who helped kill Frieza, and the one that became the first Super Saiyan. Beerus is excited. Who better to become a Super Saiyan god than a Saiyan who already has a super part? Heading to Earth on Bulma's birthday, Beerus meets up with Gohan, asking about the god transformation. When Gohan explains he doesn't know anything about godly Saiyans, but does have Super Saiyan in 3 different stages, Beerus is angered. He just wants to destroy Earth, but then realizes maybe one of these is maybe a god form and he doesn't just know it. He fights Gohan, and as he goes throughout the different transformations, Beerus gets more and more excited. He's easily able to take on the first one. The second one puts up a fight, but the third one is a big leap from the other 2. And it wasn't perfected though, to a massive degree at least, so he won that fight as well. Fed up, he's about to destroy Earth, when Piccolo teleports in using Kai Kai. He explains to Lord Beerus that there's a way to get a Super Saiyan god. Being an apprentice Kai, Piccolo had to gain knowledge first, and he started out with his race, learning of the NAMEKIAN Book of Legends. Inside, the Super Saiyan god is briefly mentioned. There are 2 methods, a ritual that requires 6 Saiyans, or a Saiyan with God Ki. The first one is definitely not going to be happening. Even if they bring back Goku, that's only 2 Saiyans, and they all have to be pure-hearted, so it's not like they can bring back Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz. So they have to go with option 2. Beerus questions how will they get a God Ki infused Saiyan. This one clearly doesn't have it. Piccolo then explains, if Gohan is to train under Beerus or Whis, then he can learn God Ki and become the first Super Saiyan god to fight Beerus. While this isn't really a good choice for Beerus' patience, Whis is excited to finally get another student. So seeing Whis' excitement, and knowing this will probably give him what he wants in the long run, he agrees. Taking Gohan, they all head to Beerus' planet. There he goes to sleep for a while because this is too boring for him. He wasn't really planning on training Gohan anyways. Whis is the one to actually train him, and he trains Gohan for about 6 months. In that time, he first gives him regular, normal training to get him accustomed to using his base form to do things, as well as getting used to how the training will eventually be. He struggles a lot, considering he doesn't have God Ki yet, and also doesn't have somebody to train with. Whis notices the motivation diminish, and then he gets an idea. Whis goes to the other world and grabs Goku, who is confused to see him. Of course, Goku knows what's been going on, and is then caught up by Whis. He's then taken by him to Beerus' planet. No, not revived, don't get that excited, we're not there yet. He's just there for motivation and to train with Gohan for the time being. Being that Whis is an angel, King Yama won't have a say against him, so yeah, Goku is taken away. For the 6 months, Goku's there to train with Gohan. This allows for their training to be sped up a little bit, and then eventually they enter the God Realm, where they learn God Ki. After coming out, Whis helps them hone it and learn Super Saiyan God. This is around 2 months into the training, leaving another 4 for the 2, especially Gohan to achieve perfection over the form. At this point, Gohan isn't interested in going above. He knows what Beerus wants and wants to perfect that as much as he can. But Goku doesn't have that same issue. After achieving God, he practices for a little bit, then goes ahead to learn something else. This eventually results in Gohan getting near mastery over God, while Goku achieves Blue. Beerus then wakes up and notices this extra god. Who is he? Whis catches him up, and then Beerus gets to fight Gohan. Starting out in his base, Gohan already is putting up a much better fight than his Super Saiyan 3, 6 months ago. Beerus can tell the God Ki has affected him much. Going into Super Saiyan, Gohan starts to raise their power levels. In response, Beerus turns it up, and that forces Gohan to head straight for Super Saiyan God. After doing so, however, he and Beerus really start to fight, and this causes ripple throughout realms, galaxies, and even destroy planets that are near them. Their fists continue to collide with each other, trading blows and smiling as they go from the thrill of the fight. Gohan puts up a good one, but eventually, even he's to be bested by Beerus, who starts to use more and more power. But after losing God, and just losing in general, he taps into something more powerful. The thought of losing isn't sitting well with him, at least not in this situation. So the red aura he once had diminishes, and a bright blue replaces it. Goku knows what this is. Gohan accesses Super Saiyan Blue, and starts to fight Beerus once more. Being 50 times stronger, it's an even better fight. But like we all know, this won't defeat Beerus. He loses, still. And Gohan to definitely achieve Beerus' respect, however, at least to a degree, so Earth won't be destroyed. Glad at his success, Gohan now wants to head back to Earth. He still has to protect it, and fears that alone, Tien and the others won't be enough. Goku actually convinces Beerus to keep him there, in case someone ever needs to spar with Beerus, you know? Goku will always be there. Piccolo, to spend more time with his best friend, teleports there to talk and train with him. Eventually, he would obtain more God Ki as well. He already started to achieve God Ki without training with Whis. I mean, he was on the Kai's planet for years, and they are gods, as well as training with Zamasu, so yeah. But this does hone it more and allows him to turn it into a transformation. Like normal, this would just be like his eyes turning red or something. And he also works to master that as well. Of course, Frieza wants to show up, but even after 4 months of training, he's literally the easiest threat at this point. The others are far stronger and even have Kaioken, which allows them to take the soldiers down much easier. Even if we account for Tagoma and Ginyu, Tien is more than enough. Gohan with God or Blue would still be stronger than Golden Frieza, and he doesn't hesitate to kill. This Gohan is pretty much a mix of both Gohans we know. He'll do anything to protect Earth and his family, and killing threats that will harm the things he loves is part of his job description. Afterwards, everything goes peaceful again. One day during the training, however, some other cat-looking creature shows up. He looks kinda like Beerus, but chubbier. Of course, this is Champa, and he's there for a food competition. Clearly, Earth rules and wins, but a tournament is held. Piccolo tries to talk Beerus out of it, but no use. He's starting to get angered. As a Kai, he and Beerus are on the same playing field and have equal say. It's not like he can trap him inside the Z-Sword like old Kai, or possibly even Hakai him. Piccolo is well trained, and even has God powers, but he doesn't say it out loud. It's just anger that builds up inside of him. And the inevitable is set in stone now. He and Goku have to come up with a team. Whis actually ends up simply reviving Goku, because Beerus likes him. He's strong and helps out. Also, he helps Piccolo to train, so why not? Goku and Piccolo are already on the team, so they only need 3 more people. Gohan is an obvious choice, and he isn't exactly a scholar. While he wants to be, he just can't go back to that life. Things have changed too much, and instead he completely takes in his fighting style. So his job could either be running a dojo like Tien, or simply participating in every fighting event, like the World Martial Arts Tournament, to earn money. Also, the winner makes like 10 million zeni, which is like money or dollars in Dragon Ball. So unless Chi-Chi spends all that money somehow, they're settled for life. Aside from Gohan though, there would be Tien and then Monaka. Beerus still decides that it's a good idea to have him motivated for Goku and Piccolo. Piccolo could care less if someone can put up a better fight than him, because he's practically a Kai. It's not necessarily his job to fight, it's to protect and create. Goku on the other hand would be the same around Monaka. Also, just to mention, Goku does reintroduce himself to Chi-Chi after all these years, and Goten is conceived. It is really late, but better late than never, am I right? Goku and Piccolo also trained for 3 years in the Time Chamber. Since he don't age while dead, Goku would still be looking like and exactly the same age as when he died, which I didn't think about 10 seconds ago when I mentioned Chi-Chi and Goku, but we'll ignore that. This means he'll most likely have better results when training because he's younger. Piccolo doesn't get Super Saiyan Blue or anything, because he's Namekian and doesn't have Super Saiyan, but he does have Kaioken and Ultimate, which would be his next level of power, although he doesn't pursue it yet. Goku on the other hand further perfects Super Saiyan Blue. After exiting, they'll head to the tournament grounds, and unlike normal, all 5 members from Universe 7 pass on to the tournament, because Boo isn't there, nor does anyone fall asleep. Now the fight. Goku will still go first, and he fights Batamo, using his own stretchiness against him. Goku's able to stretch his arms out like a catapult, and launch him out of the ring. Frost is up next, and Goku's extremely excited. Last time he fought somebody like him, Frieza was really strong, so he's expecting Frost to be too. Even though Goku pushes Frost to his final form, he isn't a challenge at all. Disappointed, Goku's about to just knock him out, but he suddenly starts to spin. Frost rushes in and lands a kick, knocking him out. Goku's surprised and far more suspicious of Frost this time, but it doesn't matter, because as far as they know, he lost fair and square. Piccolo, though, isn't so sure. He goes up next and immediately knocks out Frost. He also tells the ref to check him out. Piccolo's even more suspicious and noticed there was no way that power gap could be filled, even if Frost was purposefully heavily holding back. Of course, the poison needle is found, and Goku's reinstated. Next up is Vegeta, and Piccolo really struggles with this, far more than Vegeta. Remember, Namekians only need water, and the heat affects Piccolo differently, but since he's a Kai, he's got some neat tricks up his sleeves. Putting out his hands, he makes a barrier, and surrounds himself. Then he rushes straight towards Vegeta, powering up into Super Saiyan God, and then using a final explosion to push him towards the edge. Vegeta survives, but then Piccolo uses an insult, followed by knocking him out after realizing that that was his weakness. Next up is Kaaba. Piccolo has no interest in training him, but it has a good fight. Knocking Kaaba out, he then heads to the finale. Hit. Piccolo realizes this one is different, but knows he has a bunch of tricks. Powering up the God, he rushes towards Hit, trying to hit him, but he disappears. Appearing behind him, Hit moves his hand forward and suddenly appears in front of Piccolo, elbowing him backwards. After being beaten down for a while, Piccolo realizes the pattern, and starts to fight back. He and Hit fight on par before Hit improves and starts to beat him once more. This is when Piccolo decides to utilize his abilities. Teleporting around using the Kai, he distracts Hit, and at the same time creates multiple clones. He himself uses the binding technique of the Kais, and then with the help of the clones holding him in place with their stretched out hands, he powers up into Kaioken, and then knocks him out. Yes, Piccolo learned Kaioken, and yes, he can combine it with God, just like Goku did with Blue. But like I mentioned earlier, there's something even greater Piccolo has up his arsenal, just not ready yet. Zeno arrives, and knowing who this is, Piccolo freaks out, and with the gods profusely bows. Although like normal, Goku's an idiot and tries to prevent Zeno. Piccolo's about to get up and blast him into oblivion, but looks at Zeno noticing no erasure intent, so he just breathes to stop himself from killing Goku. Afterwards though, he has no issue, and punches him in the face. When Goku asks what was that for, he tells him that Grand Zeno wants to erase 6 universes, with one touch of his finger. He isn't to mess with. Goku argues his case, but there's no use. The Super Dragon Balls are used to wish for Champa's Earth to be restored, and one thing that doesn't happen is the Goku Black Saga. No, it's not Piccolo Black, there's just no evil Zamasu. The Zamasu of this timeline has been friends with Piccolo for years, and has grown fond of mortals, realizing while they're vile creatures, that they aren't all bad, they're life. That leaves us with the Tournament of Power. This was an especially tough arc to create, and I had writer's block for a while, but I got it together and managed to create a sensible team. Throughout the series, we've had the heroes, the villains, and the anonymous. This universe's Piccolo put all of them together to form a team. Piccolo knew the threat of Zeno, but Goku betrayed their trust and friendship by going to him directly, and asking for something that could have destroyed all of them. And now it just might. Piccolo's angered, but he knows he has to put it aside for the fight to come. He can deal with Goku later, but this is a threat for now and they need to make a team. Already we have the Z fighters of this what if. While not as many, they are surely much stronger. We have Goku, Gohan, Tien, Piccolo, Krillin, and Yamcha. Piccolo's satisfied with the number of people he found just on Earth to suit the team, but now they have to look off-world and other places. However, he does note that aside from Goku and Gohan and him, even though the humans have Kaioken, they aren't anywhere near his power, which is a problem. He sends the 3 in the time chamber for at least a day in their world and a year in the room to improve Kaioken and further improve their abilities as well as power. With Whis' help, they're able to locate Saiyans that are still alive to put on their team as well. I know it seems like I've been putting Broly and Tarbell in my recent what ifs a lot, but it fits in, so I don't really see why not. Broly's an obvious pick, and they notice Paragus is old, so he won't count as a member on the team. But they also find Tarbell, who turns out to be the brother of Vegeta. They roll with it because they need all the help they can get. And he also suggests as captain that Goku and Whis stay behind to look for more fighters, while he uses the Kai to get to the Saiyans and bring them to Earth. Piccolo heads to Vampa, straight on Paragus' signature, and Broly's. He explains the situation to them. Like I've said, Paragus would do anything to get off the planet, so he just agrees with any conditions they have. He uses his clothes beam to put new clothes on both of them, and then teleports them to Earth, instructing Gohan to take Broly into the time chamber and train with him. Bulma sends in a ton of capsules to refill the food in the time chamber, so that's covered. Tarbell is the next stop, and with his family being at risk, he joins the group. Piccolo seems like a trustable person, so that helps. Like the others, he too was sent to the time chamber. Piccolo heads to Goku and Whis for any new fighters, but unfortunately they only found one. A man named Granola on a faraway planet named Cereal. Unfortunately, it seems that he hates the Saiyan race, so that's a problem. Except Piccolo just lets everyone know not to mention they're Saiyans, so Granola can be trusted. And if he does go rogue, they can just return him and find new contestants, as they do have over a day left. Piccolo goes and discovers Granola with Monaido, who he's shocked to see. Another Namekian? Piccolo had no idea there were any other survivors aside from the ones on Namek who Guru made. He doesn't know who this is. We don't know much of Monaido. All we know is that he was one of the Namekians that got scattered during Planet Namek's eradication from the Flood. He might not know if any Namekians are still out there. If so, then Monaido is informed of Namek's survival, and this information built a trust within them.
Piccolo relays the information of the tournament, Zeno, and the erasure of everything. Granola thinks in his head that he'll never get his revenge if he's erased. So with that and the help of Monito's persuasiveness, he joins the team. Little did he know, Piccolo read his mind and is shocked to discover the hatred within him. Before they head back though, and this isn't exact, but Piccolo might reveal the Saiyans didn't destroy his planet. But I think he would also get a look from Monito and read his mind, knowing he shouldn't say anything for now. We don't know in the manga whether or not Monito kept the secret from Granola on purpose yet, so let's just keep it under the wraps. With that done, they still need one more fighter, and they end up diving it down to someone from the other world. It ends up coming down to one of their past villains. Piccolo's struggling with this trust, but he knows that at this point they're nothing to him in power. They think Frieza's too weak, and don't know about his potential, so they don't even consider him. The most likely option is Cell, because he was a recent villain and rivaled with Gohan. With training and the proper motivation, he would help. So they go to the other world where Piccolo not only threatens his life, saying if he died again, he would just cease to exist, but also mentions that they will offer to revive him if he helps. Cell takes up on a deal and gets thrown in the time chamber. Now this might seem overpowered, but Piccolo is a smart and strategic fighter, so when the Elder Kai brings up unlocked potential with time as their only restriction, he gets an idea to take the Elder Kai in the time chamber and get the human's potential unlocked. He doesn't trust Cell, and they don't even know if it will work on him. Gohan has stronger power, as well as Broly, who's learning, and everyone else doesn't really count. They end up rolling with this because Piccolo will take any advantage they can get. The training goes well with Gohan and Broly growing a bond. Broly apes out and shows his Ikari form to Gohan, which ends up in Gohan getting slammed, but they work on meditation and such to help Broly control the power. It isn't perfect, but he's getting to the point where minimum control can happen. As for the humans, they enjoy their new ultimate forms and get a huge power increase. It wouldn't bring them up to Piccolo or Goku level, or even Gohan, but it's a huge improvement. Granola didn't train because Piccolo thought it might be bad for him to see Tarble because he has a tail. The others have a tail, but they're able to downplay it, but they're not sure if Tarble would. Goku and Granola train separately instead. As we know, Granola's base power isn't actually that powerful without the wish, weaker than even Frieza's, so Goku training with him works out and improves it. His main focus would be the techniques and his eye powers, which are his advantage. Oatmeal won't work because he's technology as far as we know, and that isn't allowed in the tournament, so they focus on increasing his Naruto powers. Tarble on the other hand also trains with Broly and Gohan. I think they would help him achieve at least Super Saiyan, but since they have a year, could also be up to Super Saiyan 2. That's the furthest I'm willing to go with him though. Enough preparation already, now let's get into the tournament. All the teams would mostly be the same, except I imagine that one of the fighters from Universe 10 would get replaced with Zamasu, as he knew Piccolo was going to be on the team. Considering Universe 10's team was pretty weak, Zamasu helps out as a powerhouse. Universe 7's fight would definitely go different, with Vegeta being replaced by Tarble. Tarble would probably end up in a fight against Kaaba somewhere along the lines, where they both show off Super Saiyan. Kaaba's power far exceeds Tarble's though, cause he got that Universe 6 Saiyan juice. But the fight reaches a point to where Tarble has no choice but to ascend to the next level. He gets pushed to the edge of the ring and then sidesteps on Kaaba, elbowing him down instead. In Super Saiyan 2, Tarble is basically even, and Kaaba grows at a faster rate, so it doesn't last for long. Caulifla interferes and kicks Tarble out of the ring, except Piccolo grabs him using his arms and puts him back. The three go away for now. Tien and Krillin wouldn't get taken out the same way they did originally. They're way too strong to get caught off guard. Tien doesn't have to sacrifice himself. He and Yamcha together fight the two people reflecting blast and manage to use rocks as an advantage. With their ultimate forms, the blasts do barely any damage as well as improving their strength and speed, so they defeat that group of fighters. Krillin ducked when Frost's tail comes for him and instead kicks him. Frost isn't able to escape Krillin because he stays on Frost. Krillin uses a solar flare and then a distraction destructo disc which Frost can't sense, so he jumps, but the disc cuts the floor below him. Krillin uses this chance to get above Frost and kick him down into the void, eliminating him. Goku would take on most of the same fights alongside Piccolo, who is still angry with him. They fight all of Universe 9 and take them out with little to no ease. Tarble recovers and Gohan and Broly take on Caulifla and Kale. Gohan fights Caulifla and he isn't like his father, so no teaching how to achieve further transformations like Super Saiyan 2. He fights her in Super Saiyan 1 and goes up the ranks himself to Super Saiyan 2 where he takes the advantage. Caulifla's on the losing foot, but Kale, who gets angered, achieves her legendary Super Saiyan form and crushes Gohan's skull along the floor. Broly gets angered seeing this and rushes in to save his friend. He and Kale get into a fight which leads to them spiraling through many rocks and eliminating fighters as they fight. Broly's on the losing foot, but he risks using his party to take Kale down. When Hit realizes Broly will win, he uses time skip to punch Broly towards Gohan, while Caulifla calms Kale down and they all escape. Goku takes on Jiren and that fight mostly goes the same. Goku goes through the ranks of the Super Saiyans before going all out in Blue Kaioken, where he and Jiren fight before the Spear Bomb, resulting in Goku achieving Ultra Instinct. Piccolo is watching this and is about to jump in to help Goku when Zamasu challenges him. Zamasu and Piccolo start a fight on the inside. and Zamasu knows he'll lose, but if this is how he goes, it's fine. They both have a friendly fight, and Zamasu's power manages to take Piccolo to Super Saiyan God, but after that, it's pretty easy to tell the winner. Piccolo sends a blast in his direction, which Zamasu tries to push back with his own, but before long, it reaches his hands, and he can't seem to push it back, resulting in Universe 10 being erased. Goku's Ultra Instinct wears off, with Piccolo coming to his aid and healing him with his Jargadian ability. It takes on Jiren, and Piccolo decides they need to stay far away from that fight. With Goku fully healed, the robot fighters aren't that big a deal, but Caulifla and Kale still approach him, resulting in that fight happening. By that time, the two of them alongside Cell fought the Pride Troopers and won, but Cell would turn on them and stab Caulifla, resulting in him gaining more power. He drained her. Kale went berserk and took down Cell, but as the fight went on, she got more calm and achieved her controlled state, which they managed to make Cell retreat with. Goku takes them on, eventually leading to them fusing into Kefla. As Goku and Kefla's fight goes, Cell appears behind her in the attack where she's supposed to get ahead of Goku. Distracted, Kefla doesn't notice and gets stabbed by Cell's tail. He sucks in all of Kefla's energy, supercharging him. Goku is saved and Kefla loses. But this does mean that Goku doesn't get Ultra Instinct for the second time. That's a big hit. Cell goes around and fights opponents. He takes down Dispro from Universe 11 and other fighters from Universe 3, thinking androids should probably fight androids. He takes on Universe 3's robots. He has a huge advantage before they start to fuse and become Anilaza. The rest of Universe 7 rushes to hell, but Universe 4 takes the chances to get the advantage and lower Universe 7's number. In this fight, most of the humans are taken down. Piccolo tries to duplicate and fight Anilaza, but that doesn't end well for him, and he's taken down as well. Piccolo realizes what's going on with the mini-fighters, while Goku, Gohan, Cell, and Broly deal with Anilaza. He, Tarble, and Granola take care of Universe 4. Granola's eyes come into play here heavily. Without Oatmeal suppressing his eye, he uses it to the full capacity and easily spots all the fighters, shooting blasts at them where he bruises and exposes them heavily to where Piccolo or Tarble can take them out of the ring. They succeed in defeating Universe 4, and the other team finishes a beam struggle with Anilaza, winning. It's now up to Toppo and Jiren to defeat Universe 7. Toppo realizes he has no chance against all these fighters and uses the God Form from the start. He fights Cell, Broly, and Tarble while Piccolo, Goku, and Gohan take on Jiren. Jiren's still not going remotely towards his full power. The three fighters against him have perfect synergy in their attack, but soon Piccolo realizes it's not synergy they need, it's the synergy that they have that's giving Jiren an edge. They start using an array of techniques, and Piccolo uses Gigentification and Duplication to confuse Jiren, while Goku and Gohan land significant blows. Piccolo is able to heal everyone, which plays a huge part in their win right now. On the other hand, Toppo has knocked out Tarble and is on the edge of defeating Cell and Broly, who are trying their best to defeat Toppo. Cell proposes that Broly hold him off while he tries to suck out Toppo's power. Broly agrees with the plan, remembering the effect it had on Kefla. He uses Ikari, but it's not enough to combat Toppo's Hakai. Broly gets engulfed, except he comes out even stronger and has a Super Saiyan. His power gets amplified a ton, and Toppo is on even footing with him at the moment. They go blow for blow before Broly goes at a rate Toppo can't even imagine. Broly cuffs Toppo with his elbows around him. Cell gets close and stabs Toppo in the neck, sucking out all the power. Toppo gets converted back to his normal form and tossed out. But now there's a new problem. Broly's losing it and he starts attacking Cell. Luckily, Cell's power-ups are enough to hold him off, but not for long. Granola has been taking cover far away, awaiting his chances, and sees it. He shoots a beam at Broly's jaw, giving enough of a distraction for Cell to knock him down and out. Broly's left with Granola for the time being, while Cell goes to fight Jiren. Jiren has gone mostly all out. He starts using everything in the book to take down the growing group of fighters. Seeing Cell coming rushing in without expecting Jiren to hit as hard as he does is an advantage, and he uses one of his full power strikes, knocking Cell out in one punch. Jiren sees Piccolo as a nuisance and knocks his giant form out with one punch. Piccolo's tinier forms grow right in front of Granola. He heals Broly because they really need him right now. They need as much power as they can get. Gohan and Goku are barely standing against him right now. Jiren takes down both of them and fires a Ki Blast to take them both out. Piccolo gets in front of it with himself and a giant form of him. He goes into Super Saiyan God Kaioken and tries to push him back, but it's not enough. He stretches out his arms and uses his giant form stretched arm too. He looks at Goku and Gohan and tells them to win for us. Piccolo takes in the blast, but he redirects it to the bottom of the ring with his giant form, making it explode the bottom. He falls down with it, knocking himself out. Gohan gets up and goes Super Saiyan Blue. Now here's the crazy thing. Gohan takes Vegeta space in this time, so he would be the one here to just out of nowhere think of Videl and Pan, allowing him to magically achieve a new transformation, which we all call Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. I know, right? Crazy. Broly steps in to help and going into Ikari and challenge Jiren together, while Granola stays his backup to attack with Ki attacks. Broly and Gohan are going punch to punch with Jiren, as he's pushed back towards the end of the arena. Granola blows up the floor from beneath him as he falls, but manages to get back up and jump behind Granola, punching him towards the edge of the ring. Broly catches him and Jiren fires a ki blast towards them, which they aren't able to push back. It overtakes all of them, but Goku shows up in the nick of time with Ultra Instinct on him. They launch a final attack towards Jiren with him in his awakened form. He kicks Granola out of the ring and lands devastating blows on Gohan and Broly, leaving the Ultra Instinct menace to deal with. It's only Goku's second time in the form though, so he won't unlock MUI at all. Therefore, he and Jiren go back and forth. A third party needs to do something. Gohan gives his energy to Broly and hides in the ring, telling Broly to go Super Saiyan. He's their last hope. Broly doesn't want to, but seeing as they might lose, he has no choice. Either everyone dies or he saves them. He goes for it, and with Goku, the two start to dominate over Jiren, launching a combined combo attack. Everyone cheers for them as they finally land their final punches on Jiren, falling out of the void with him. Gohan survives as the final person in the ring. Of course he's pure-hearted, so he would wish for all the universes to be restored. The group revives Cell as promised, return Granola and Tarbo to their home worlds, and Broly and Paragus stay on Earth. We would now move on to the Moro arc. Piccolo and the group are all enjoying their time when the Galactic Patrol shows up on Earth. The group asks what they're here for, and Miras comes out explaining the Moro situation. Piccolo not only manages to sense Miras' tea, but also knows he's an angel, and also knows about Moro from the NAMEKIAN Book of Legends. He steps up. If they're gonna defeat Moro, he's the best chance they have. Piccolo's equipped in magic because of his training as a Kai. He decides not to out Miras as he realizes why Miras is undercover, and he appreciates that. They head to Namek where Moro is with Raspberry collecting the Dragon Balls. Piccolo can sense the destruction on Namek and realizes that they can't wait any longer. He uses the Kai alongside Goku to get onto Namek. Gohan and Broly stayed behind as defense for Earth. They arrive on Namek and Piccolo instantly heads towards the power of Moro. Moro senses him on his way and gets prepared. He realizes his power heading towards him is immense, a great opportunity to get energy. Except it won't be that easy, or go how he wants to at all. Piccolo knows Force Spirit Fission, so any energy Moro tries to steal comes right back to him. Moro's magic is met by Piccolo's counter magic, which is what the Grand Kai used to originally fight Moro. Piccolo is just too powerful and too prepared for this fight. His overall strength exceeds Moro's, so there's nothing he can do to fight him. Eventually, Piccolo grabs hold of Moro, plummets him in the ground and uses Ki Blast to evaporate his face, acclaiming that for what he did to his fellow Namekians. Moro is defeated that easy. The prisoners aren't that hard to round up, even 7-3. The Granola arc won't entirely be avoided though. He still has his grudge with the Saiyans, and no one's getting in the way of his bounties. But that's another story, for another time. I hope you guys did enjoy this series. If you did, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate all the support this series has gotten, and thank you so very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.